to the Lifestyle Miami podcast. Today I have Gonzalo Zulueta. How are you doing today, Gonzalo?
Good. Very excited. Danny, thank you for having me here. You know, I love anything that has to do with Miami, and I know you guys are very involved in the Miami community. So this is definitely a very cool moment. Thank you for having me.
That's amazing. And I'm really glad that you're on the podcast because you've done so much in the industry and not even just like focusing on one subject. You've done other things. So I would just like to begin by asking you, where did you grow up and what was your childhood like?
I was born and raised here in the Magic City in Miami. I'm a Miami boy. I grew up in the city of Doral, and I had an amazing childhood. It couldn't get any better. I had a very happy childhood, went to school. I went to Christopher Columbus High School. I did everything I wanted in my childhood, played like every sport. I was terrible at every sport I played except
which
tennis.
sports did you play?
I tried everything. You know, I tried taekwondo, soccer, tennis. I was very good at tennis, swimming, but I'd say tennis is the one that stuck out the most for sure.
Very cool. And when you were in high school, were you training to be a tennis player or did you kind of put it to the side?
Yeah, when I was in high school is when I guess I started taking tennis in a more serious matter. I started playing in middle school. I was on my high school tennis team. I was the worst one. I wasn't that good at all, you know, but I'd say in junior year, I started playing very well. Not for the school team, but I also played in Argentina and I played in France a couple months. So that was definitely a very cool experience.
That's awesome. And then during that, when you were younger, like, did you know what you wanted to become when you were older? Like, did you have some ideas? Was tennis even a factor or was it like multiple things?
Well, I think tennis, just like any kid, any guy or girl, you know, they want to be a professional athlete. Who doesn't want to be Cristiano? Who doesn't want to be Messi? In my case, who didn't want to be Nadal or Djokovic? So yeah, I say I'd wanted to be a professional tennis player, but you know, life isn't fair all the time. And that just wasn't my path. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't close to being good enough. You know, maybe if I continued, I could have played in college, but definitely since I was a child, I always wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to be an actor and a pilot. And it was something since I was 4 years old, I always said it. I want to be an actor. I want to be a pilot. I want to be an actor. I want to be a pilot.
You also had a brand as well, a Gonzalo Apparel that's been through many types of rebrand. What was the first thing?
That's right. So I have a clothing line. I still have it. It's Zulueta Apparel. It started as a different name. I had a business partner and we started a bikini company, bikinis for women. And it had a cool concept. It was bikinis that reduce your tan line. That was our like selling point. That was very cool. Then I kind of branched out off on my own and I explored some different things such as jeans, t-shirts, hoodies, polos, jean jackets, a bit of everything. And I stuck with shirts and hoodies. And I think now that I've finally found my niche, which is aviation, obviously acting as well, but aviation, you know, I think the new rebrand is going to be towards that. Mind you, this has happened over the past 8 to 9 years. So it's a process, you know.
It's a lot. And not only that, like, I just want to go into what was your first job ever?
My first job ever, I started making money. I worked in an aftercare company, taking care of kids at night. But, you know, growing up, I had such a cool childhood. I would always go to work with my mom, and these are experiences that I'll never forget. And I thank my mom every day for giving them to me. I would always help paint the parking lots or help paint the school, or, you know, I would do a lot of like handy work thanks to my mom's job. So that was pretty cool.
That's amazing. And then do you still tutor?
Yeah, so I do a lot of things. I do have that clothing brand. I'm an actor, I'm a pilot, and I'm an entrepreneur overall. I have worked in a school for 10 years. I love working with kids. It's super fun. I'm a director of a sports program, and I also own a tutoring company where I tutor students myself, even though I tutor less and less every day regarding general education because I am a flight instructor now. And I have that tutoring company. I send out a couple tutors as well to houses. Yeah. You know, as an actor, it's a very tough job. I've been an actor for the past 10 years and, you know, it's kind of hard
to start acting.
So I always wanted to be an actor. I think finally when I was 16 years old, I said, all right, this is what I want. So I went out, I found a manager. I still have her today. It's the same management group and I'm very, very happy with them. But I took many many classes. I studied in New York. I studied in Los Angeles. I actually lived in Los Angeles for some time studying acting. I studied in Argentina. I studied in Mexico as well. And the process has just been very tough. It's a lot of learning you have to do. It's a lot of networking you have to do, and just truly believing in yourself and doing castings and castings and castings, and never giving up until, you know, you start booking gigs, and those gigs then turn into projects. Start off as maybe you're just standing there in the back, and then, you know, you got that opportunity to say a one-liner. I'll never forget my first time on a TV set. It was for a novela, a Telemundo novela called Mariposa de Barrio. I was there all day waiting in my dressing room. I was so excited for the one line that I had. And 6 hours later, they came in and they're like, "Hey man, we're not going to use you. You can go home." I still got paid.
Oh, wow.
But
Do you remember what was the one line?
I don't remember. It was a fight. It was a fight between Jenny Rivera and in a college. It was in Barry University, actually, where we were filming.
Oh, wow.
So I'll never forget that. I didn't film that day.
Yeah.
But then
What
later
was the first payment? Like, how much were you getting, like, that first time? And how did you feel when you got that check?
So back in, it wasn't a lot at all. Back in, this was 2016, I believe, 2016 was the first time I appeared on TV. I got paid $210 for the day. That's what I would get paid per day. And then from there,
How was it?
about 12.
Okay.
Because, you know, it was a low budget format of a show. So they filmed 12 hours a day. But yeah, that was my beginning payment, $210 for the day. Mind you, back in 2016, I was I don't know, 18, maybe a little younger, 18, or I'm not good at math, but 18 or 20 years. I was 20 years old. But I mean, I really wasn't in it for the money. I'm still not.
It's more for the experience and getting your face out there.
And you're doing what you love. It was a big eye opener. I was like, whoa, because there's no rule book. No one tells you, hey, when you get to set, you have to go here, you have to go there, you have to do this. It's like you're thrown into the cave full of wolves and you have to survive.
After working with your manager, was this something that you looked on Google, or was it a word of mouth that you figured out, oh, I need a manager, I need to get somebody that can brand me?
When you have the idea, I want to be an actor, you start doing your research, you know, and I started asking around, I guess. I started meeting the right people. I started going to a lot of events. You know, I can't stress how important networking is. I networked, I did my research, and I found a manager, and I got very lucky. She's a top manager. If anyone watching this is an actor, you've heard of CAA or UTA. Those are the biggest talent agencies in the United States. Well, my manager is the equivalent in Mexico and Latin America. And thanks to her, I've been able to work in platforms like Disney Plus, Fox. There's some interesting projects coming now too that I can't really talk about in detail. But yeah, you know, I just did my research, and little by little you go networking. This doesn't happen overnight. I've been doing this for 10 years, and now that I'm starting to see the fruits of all the hard work.
Did you do many acting classes, or was it that you just took one acting class and you were like, okay, let me just start going to the casting?
Right. So I went to regular university. I studied in Los Angeles. I studied here in FIU. I graduated from FIU. I went to Miami-Dade.
What did you
So I didn't have a bachelor's in science of organizational communication. So not mass media, but organizational communication. That was my major, and my minor's in industrial psychology. But yeah, I went to regular old-fashioned school, but I did take a lot of acting seminars. Like I said, I lived in Los Angeles, so I took a lot of seminars over there. I went to Stella Adler Studio in New York City. I also studied in Argentina. I studied in Mexico, acting. And as an actor, you always have to be preparing.
It's an abundance of learning and over all those years.
Exactly. And it's also life experiences, you know, because when you're acting, you're interpreting certain things. And, you know, maybe as an 18-year-old, you just haven't experienced certain things. So it's going to be kind of hard to portray that on camera if you've never experienced it, right? That's why I guess we start knowing actors as they get older and older.
When you were doing your, let's say, what would you call these, like background people? And then when you got your first front-on role, how do you feel once you got into that?
So thankfully, I always started as a guest star, a day player, character that has a certain amount of lines. So that's definitely very cool. You know, I have to say Telemundo has always treated me very well. I've always been very lucky to work with very nice actors. But I'd say that first feeling of like, wow, I feel special was definitely when I worked for Disney. That was such a cool experience. But more than ever now, when I filmed This Never Happened, my first movie with a starring role, that was very
movie, right? So
horror movie, exactly a year ago.
It's a dream come true to be able to say, oh, I'm in a horror movie.
Exactly a year ago, I was packing my bags to go film the movie in Mexico City. So that was such a cool experience, and definitely very humbled by it. I'm very lucky to be in that position, and I'm very, very happy I was able to experience that. And I hope I can continue interpreting characters and traveling, doing what I love.
That's incredible. How do you feel now after you learned so much throughout the industry of acting? Do you feel that you can empower other people while doing this as well?
So I feel like I have a lot to learn still. You know, just because you did a movie doesn't mean anything. You got to stay humble and you got to keep working and taking classes and learning different things and different techniques and how to work with different people, how to work with different directors. But yeah, I definitely love empowering younger people or even people that are older than me that want to pursue this career. I am very cutthroat, honest. It's very difficult. It's very hard. It's not for everyone. It can be scary sometimes. I actually started my piloting career because acting was so slow and so unstable. Funny enough, in the middle of my piloting career, I booked this movie. So I had to put the piloting career, getting my pilot license, on hold for some time so I can go film the movie. But yeah, of course, I love empowering aspiring actors, and I'm not an acting guru. I don't know it all, but I definitely think I have some tips or recommendations that some people can use and maybe apply it to their own experience.
With your overall experience in acting, like, what do you think you've learned that stood out?
To film This Never Happened in Mexico City, I kind of like left my bubble, right? I've always been in Miami. I've traveled the world, but you know, now I'm traveling to a different company to work with Fox. The movie's currently on Tubi. So I'm going to a different country. I'm working with Fox. I'm used to the Hispanic world. And although I went to Mexico, and Mexico, yes, it's Hispanic, it's an American movie. So working with an American director was very different. Working from people from different backgrounds. My castmates were all from different backgrounds. Some people were Cuban, some people were Peruvian, some people were Mexican. Working with a different crew, you know, things just work differently.
And how were their personalities on set? Was it you guys are having fun, or were you family? Were you enemies?
This doesn't always happen, but we created an incredible bond. We really did create an incredible bond. People think movies are filmed over 6 months. They're not. Movies are filmed in a month or two. If you're filming Avatar, okay, it's filmed in 4 months, or Pirates of the Caribbean. But most of the Oppenheimer was filmed in 42 days.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
And how many hours per day? Like 12 as the other experience, or a lot more since you're so condensed to that 1 month, 45 days?
We would have 12 to 14-hour days, and that includes the lunch break. But it was also a challenging movie because most of everything was filmed at night. So my times were inverted. You know, we would get into work at 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. and we would get out at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. So it was very different. You know, changes your rhythm completely.
Very true. What was your favorite project as an actor so far? And maybe you have more than one project. You can name those experiences.
So I think every single project I've done is very special, but This Never Happened is, like you said, a dream come true. I've always wanted to be an actor in a horror movie. Horror movies is my favorite genre. I love the Halloween series. Michael Myers is my favorite, and that's my guy. So this was definitely such a cool experience. It was a huge challenge to myself as an actor because my character is a very bad guy. He's funny, which I'd say I'm funny. I like being the comedic relief of the group, but he's also a very dark character. He does things that Gonzalo I would never do. That scene was definitely very dark to film. I did not like filming that, but as an actor, you kind of push yourself. I'm so glad I got to. You can say it like that. I got to experience that. This Never Happened was just so special to me, for sure. A lot of screaming. That's one thing I learned from the movie. I'm not used to screaming, and as an actor, you should scream from your stomach. I'm getting a little technical now, but I was screaming.
Very diaphragm focus.
Right, from the diaphragm, I would scream a lot with my throat. It was 50 degrees outside. We were filming in a pool, so there was just so many challenges there. But wow, I showed myself that I can do it, and that really showed me like I really want to do this for the rest of my life.
And did you just like look in a mirror and you're just like,
Well, no, because I had to preserve my voice so much throughout the movie, and it was so hard because on top of everything, like I said, it was one night it dropped down to 30 degrees, 35 degrees Fahrenheit, and we were filming outdoors in a pool. So obviously, like, you get sick. The production was incredible. They would give us blankets, hot teas, you know, the fire pit, but still you get sick and you lose your voice. So that was very challenging, but I I had a blast nonetheless.
When you become an actor on set, how do you leave one personality? I feel like actors, like they have a multi-personality
I
effect.
think most of us actors are a little cuckoo, but you do adopt your character's energy when you're filming. And you asked me before how were our personalities on set. So we did have a blast. It was incredible. The characters are all best friends and they all have parties and so that was there. But I feel like every actor took on the personality of their character. So that was very interesting to see. I have never experienced that just because with TV, you don't really get to experience emotion so much, especially when you're doing comedy or something like that.
Very true. Where can our listeners and viewers see this movie?
This Never Happened is now streaming on Tubi. Tubi is Fox's platform, their streaming platform. It's completely free. So yeah, don't miss it on Tubi. And then Forever is streaming on Disney Plus.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And I also want to touch base on your piloting, since this is something that you've just been working on months and months for. And what put you in the mindset of like, oh, I want to be a pilot. I want to be in the air. Like, I get nervous when I'm in the air, so I don't know how you can do it.
Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot. I guess it just never worked out for X, Y, or Z reason. Acting was going a little slow. And I said, instead of doing a master's degree in something that I probably won't use, I really want to be a pilot. So I did a discovery flight. I loved it. I went up in the air with an instructor and I loved it ever since. I got my first pilot license within 4 months. And then I went for my commercial license. So I'm already a commercial pilot. And then my flight instructor license. I'm teaching people now how to fly, which is pretty cool.
That's insane. And every time that you get on your plane, do you feel like an adrenaline rush? Just being in the air and just like seeing nothing but clouds?
It's very cool. It's definitely an adrenaline rush that doesn't compare to anything else. I love it. I don't know. I don't even know how to put it into words. It just brings a smile to my face every time. Yeah, I mean, every time you go up, you know that something may go wrong, but you go up anyway, right?
Do you have air condition in the plane?
There are some that do. Planes where students train usually do not. There are some models that do, but for the most part, no. You open the window and
the
you get
window open? When you,
yeah.
Oh my God, you're
Yeah.
insane. I always see your TikToks and you're just putting instructional videos. And I just want to talk about like how extensive was the training?
So the training's is very intense, especially I did it fairly quick. I did everything within a year. My flight instructor took a little longer just because waiting for the examiner takes a while. And then Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, just delays everything. But it's a lot of information. I personally like studying. Like I said, I've worked in a school for 10 years. I've been a tutor for over 10 years. So I'm pretty good at studying, but it is intense. It's a lot of information. It's just one of those things that if you're passionate about it, I guess it comes easy to you. Just like acting. Acting's a very tough world. It's a very difficult world. It's not easy at all. Sometimes you get a casting and the scene is ginormous, but you love it. So you stick through it and you do it. Same thing with aviation. There's moments where it's very, very tough, but I love it.
How many months does it take? What is like the first test? Like, is that like a 30-day thing? Is that a 1 month thing? What is the process for that?
The basic license, the first license anyone gets is called the private pilot license. A lot of people confuse that with flying private jets. That's wrong. A private pilot license just allows you to fly an airplane for fun as a hobby. You can take passengers, but you can't make money. You usually are limited to smaller planes. And that process, like I said, I did it in 4 months, a little less than 4 months. Everyone is different. Some people do it in 4 months. Other people do it in 6. Others take a whole year to do it. Depends how much time you dedicate to it.
Okay.
And then once you're ready for your test, you take the test with an examiner that's designated by the FAA. The FAA is the Federal Aviation Administration. And you do like a 4-hour test on the ground, just speaking to this person about aviation. They ask you about all the regulations, all the laws, all the rules. And then you go up in the air and you fly and you do some maneuvers. It is a pretty intimidating process, but you like flying, it's definitely worth it.
And once you've read everything in the book, you just still absorb that and keep that in?
Well, you have to, you have to.
So you have like a book on you all the time, just in case?
I mean, not on me all the time, but there's a lot of publications that you can look up. If you're thinking of becoming a pilot, the FAA publishes all their textbooks for free online. As an instructor, you have to constantly be like a doctor. You have to constantly be training yourself again. All airline pilots have have to do courses every single year. They have to refresh their simulator training. They have to refresh their practical training, their knowledge training. So it is a career, just like medicine or law. You have to always be learning and studying.
What advice would you give to someone that wants to pursue the career goals that you have done in the past?
Don't do it. Run away. No, I'm kidding. You have to be very consistent. You have to believe in yourself. I know that sounds very cliche, but definitely you have to be very consistent. It's not easy at all. It's very tough. You know, both acting and piloting. Acting, I'd say it's even more tough because piloting, if you're really studious and you stick through it and you're a good learner and you put your best energy towards it, eventually, you know, you're going to get through all your licenses and then you'll get to the point where you have to get hired by an airline. So it's more of a smooth process. It is very difficult though, and it's very costly, but more towards the acting career. If you're looking to pursue that, I encourage you to. I think it's awesome. I encourage you to build your life outside of acting, get a career outside of acting. If you notice, most A-list celebrities, they don't make their money from acting. Acting made them famous, but Sofia Vergara makes her money out of her Rooms to Go collection, out of her Walmart collection. She has restaurants. George Clooney owns Casamigos. Rihanna is a billionaire, not because she's a singer. I don't remember the last song Rihanna played. Yeah. She's a billionaire because she has a makeup line, right? Forgot the name. Fenty Beauty. The Kardashians, they don't make their money. The money they make out of keeping up with the Kardashians is their pocket change. Yeah. They don't make money from that. They make money from Skims, from Good American, from all the
Beauty and all that.
Right. So I guess the advice I'd give you, build your life outside of acting. Get a career, whatever it is. I'm no one to tell you what to get it in. If you want to try being an entrepreneur, try it. You know, I feel like it's going to help you a lot more with the acting career because you do need flexibility. That's why I personally never got a corporate job. It was tough at first because I had to do a little bit of everything, work at the school, have my tutoring company, have my clothing line. You know, you have to do a little bit of everything because, you know, it's really hard to start something. But, you know, make your career outside of acting, whatever it may be. Stay consistent. Go to every acting class you can. Do your research. Network, and stay true to yourself. Be humble and hang in there because eventually the worst thing that can happen is that you'll get hired for something.
That's very true. And what is one word that you would describe yourself?
Ooh, one word. I'd say determined.
I could see that. Yeah, because you're always all over the place, but you still have something consistently going, which is what you mentioned. And I just wanted to ask one last thing before you go. What is one advice you would give to your younger self?
More than advice, I would tell him, keep going. Everything's going to be just the way it has to be. To be himself and to do that. He did everything right. If I can see my younger self, I would give him a hug and say thank you for being you because we rock, we're slowly kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, and then being a turtle and then slowly getting to that milestone, which is what I really appreciate having you on this podcast for, because it's about entrepreneurship, it's about branding, it's about consistently working on whatever it is that you're looking for doing in life. So thank you so much for being on this podcast, for the South Miami podcast. Thank you so much, Gonzalo.
Thank you for having me.